Good morning. Today what we're looking at is how we can describe and define what the atom is, as well as describing the size of an atom using metaphors. So at the moment, the first thing that I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take out your goal page, standards page for this standard, to know the structure of the atom and know it's composed of protons, neutrons, and electrons. And I'd like you to fill in the first thing with notes on the atom. You are going to need to take down notes as you go along, so don't forget to do that. Okay? Your two goals for today are defining what an atom is, as well as describing the size of an atom using metaphors. The next slide. So first, we're going to do a little activity. What you need to do is you need to take out a piece of paper. You need to take out some scissors. I would recommend that you pause the video to complete the activity, and then once you've cleaned up all your paper, start the video again. Okay? What you're going to do is you're going to take a small piece of paper, just like a Post-it size, and you're going to take scissors and cut it in half. Then I want you to cut both pieces in half again. I want you to take one piece out of the four and cut it in half, and just keep cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting each piece in half again. You don't need to do this for every single piece. You can just take 1/4, then 1/8, then etc. Okay, until you cannot cut it anymore. I want you to look at the smallest piece. Is this a physical or is this a chemical change? And I'd like you to explain why. Once you've decided this, and you've written it down in your notebook, please throw all of the pieces of your paper away in the garbage, and then you can continue. Okay, so take this time now to do that, and then start the video again once you've cut all the way down to the very smallest and you cannot get anything more. All right? So, when you're coming back now, what is an atom? What did you notice when you had the activity with the paper? What happened in the end? Hopefully what you noticed is that it was a physical change. You were cutting the paper into a smaller and smaller piece, but there was no change in the substance itself. Okay, so there was no new substances. The properties of the paper, the color, the texture, its chemical properties, whether it'll burn or not, are all still the same. This is the idea with the atom. So in the atom, it comes from the Greek word atomos, and it comes all the way back from the time of Democritus, which you may have learnt about already in world history. Okay? Basically what it means is it means indivisible, and you need to write this down. What does indivisible mean? Well, it means it cannot be divided further. So in the case of the atom in science, it means that you cannot divide the atom into a smaller amount without changing its physical and chemical properties. So you cannot divide it any further without having a different substance. Okay? For us, and the definition of the atom, the best thing for you to do is to just basically is that it is the smallest particle or piece of a pure substance. Okay? Once you've written that down, keep going. So, just how small is an atom? If we say that the atom is the smallest piece of a pure substance we can have, how small is it? I'd like you to take 1 minute to discuss this with the person beside you if you happen to be watching this in pairs. If not, then pause the video and think about it yourself, write down an answer in your notebook, and then continue. You are going to need to do an external bit, so you're going to need to pause this video and put this YouTube link into your browser and watch the power of 10. They're going to go all the way from the biggest power of 10, so the most we can see, down to the smallest amount that we can see. Once you've watched that video, come back. Okay? All right, now that you're back, I'd like you to also watch a second lesson, okay, and it's just how small the atom is. On here, what you're going to do is you're basically going to click the TED Ed link. If you do not have an account already from one of your other classes, you are going to need to sign up, which you can do through Google, okay? You need to watch the lesson and you need to answer the think questions that go along with it. All right? Then, the next piece that you're going to do, you are going to draw an analogy. So what is an analogy? An analogy is a comparison using other materials or objects to describe a concept. In this analogy, I want you to compare, just like they did in the video, the size of an atom to the size of another object. Okay? Basically, for example, if you were the size of an American football field, what would the size of an atom be? Okay? So something like that. Compare two objects, one large and one very, very small to represent the atom. Try to find this. You may have to search online or use one of the examples that they've given you in the video. Try to find this, try to find an accurate analogy. So you may have to search for it. All right, that is your homework, finding an analogy for the size of an atom and either writing it out in your book or drawing it. Okay, to summarize, we've looked at what an atom is. Okay, the idea that it is indivisible and the smallest part of a pure substance. And we've also looked at the size. Okay? And the size of an atom, it's extremely tiny. And then we've looked at analogies of the size of an atom. Okay? Your homework, if you do not finish it in class, your homework is to draw or write an accurate analogy for the size of an atom.